Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark, joined today with Frank Tropiano. Frank, it's WrestleMania season. We're about 2 weeks out right now. Today is kind of just a general WrestleMania talk. We'll talk about the storylines, the matches, see how we're feeling. I guess we'll kick it off with how do you feel right now with the build kind of heating up now 2 weeks out of Mania?
So I think there's a lot of potential for WrestleMania. It feels like they're not giving us a lot though, which could be great and it could be bad. So I will say lukewarm right now. It's not blazing hot, but it certainly isn't cold for me. You know what I mean? I'm excited headed into WrestleMania. I'm not as excited as I had been maybe last year, but I don't think that means that we're not going to get a good WrestleMania either.
And you're usually the optimist of the two of us because right now I'm not all doom and gloom about the situation, but you kind of touched on it. I don't have a lot of excitement about many matches. I'm very excited about John and Cody. We'll get there, of course. Seth Punk Roman could be incredible. After that, I know there'll be great wrestling matches, but the feuds themselves don't really entice me.
So one of the things I feel like I've noticed these last few weeks is just I've been thinking back to this Triple H era, and I feel like Vince always put the big moment on Raw or SmackDown, the big reveal, and then he wanted the match, right, to be the center stage. He was very like old school in that, and I think that there are a lot of people that prefer that. It seems like Hunter has no problem dropping the shoe at the pay per view. Like he can acknowledge that people love a good match, but he can also acknowledge that people love a good swerve, surprise, whatever at the end of a pay-per-view. It doesn't have to end with the match. It's not the end all be all, it's about the story too. So that's why I have a lot of faith that whatever they're planning for that Sunday night main event and the Saturday night main event too, um they probably have something in mind for us, something that's going to make us go, oh, you know what? I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. Hunter has touched on that before, how they want to keep throwing us for a loop. They don't want to be very, obvious and kind of tell us exactly what's going to happen. So I think that's definitely playing into this too, where we're so conditioned for the last 20, however long we've been watching wrestling, right? To think one way. And we're still kind of getting used to this new way of doing things.
I don't think you're wrong there, but I also feel like we've been kind of preaching patience to ourselves the last handful of weeks. Like, yeah, it's not hot yet, but let's see how this plays out. Things are going to pick up. And maybe they have for some people, depending on how you feel about it, but it still feels like, and maybe the go homes are incredible. Maybe the go homes kick it out of the park and we're still 2 weeks out. But right now, I feel like there is a lot to be desired. You're right. Maybe Mania is when it's all delivered and the builds don't matter as much as they used to. Maybe that's the new Triple H era. That could be a possibility too.
I'll say this, I'm leaving pay-per-views feeling a lot more fulfilled than I have been in the past. You know what I mean? I'm leaving pay-per-views, and I think that's the more important, than leaving a random Monday. And look, you want that feel good on a random Monday too, for sure. So I hope they don't stop those completely. But with WrestleMania around the corner, them giving us nothing makes me believe that they have a lot of big things in store for Mania itself.
Maybe we have to find that in between of feeling good on a Raw and feeling good on a pay per view, not just
And you know
exclusive.
what? I'm fine with that. You're right, we do. But in during this season with WrestleMania being the end all be all, I'm okay with them giving us absolutely nothing, as long as they keep us interested in the feuds, which we're going to talk about, as we go on here.
All right, right now on the card, we have 7 confirmed matches. Before we go into that, we have a lot of matches that I think we all expect. Probably 5 or 6 more will be announced before then, I assume. We'll start off here with Drew and Priest. Some rumors right now that Drew might be injured, but I think this match will probably happen as long as Drew's okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we're recording this in between an episode of SmackDown right now, right? So Drew had just cut his promo about Priest and Priest needing him. It was a really great promo. He had an eye patch on, and there was the rumors that the glass went on his eye. I think that's all real. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Hopefully they go on. These guys definitely deserve to be at WrestleMania. I think this feud's been pretty solid all around. I can't say that I'm super excited for it, but I also know that when it's on, I'm going to be interested and locked in. So
I think the glass spot helped. I think the storytelling definitely helps because on the surface, I was very upset that this was Drew's match. I talked about that publicly, but it's fine for what it is. A one-on-one match. They'll go 20 minutes. They'll be really solid. I hope Drew wins. We'll go into predictions at a later date. But yeah, it is what it is.
yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit it on the head. It just kind of is what it is. nobody can go over super much, right? And nobody can get too hurt. So that's good too.
Not confirmed yet, but I think we all suspect Jade versus Naomi is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive that's going to happen. It's
And to
good we're getting
me,
women's matches without titles.
I don't know if they'll do Naomi like that, but that could be a squash. That could be a really quick match.
I've seen a lot of people say that they think Naomi should win, and I don't hate the idea. I think Jade can survive it. I don't think Jade
Has
needs.
Jade lost yet?
They've lost the tag team titles. I don't remember if she's the one who got pinned.
Or a singles match? Probably not, right?
I don't think she's lost a singles match now.
So it feels like they wouldn't give that rub to Naomi.
Hey, look, if you're gonna do it, WrestleMania is the perfect place to do it, right? Will they do it? I don't know. They have to answer that question, but could be a big win for Naomi if they decide to do that. I think she gets more out of that than Jade does.
Going over the IC title held by Braun Breaker, he's kind of in a feud with a lot of different people. I think Finn Balor's the main guy right now, but then there's also Dom Mysterio. Penta's kind of involved still.
See,
Like, how do
I
you?
would argue Penta's the main guy, and then the
Okay.
Judgment Day are just in the background. But that, I mean, that's just what's going on here. I think it's the three of them and Dom. I think it's all fair to say that they're all in it.
Do you think it's going to be just a big multi-man match?
It should be. I think all four guys have proven that they should be in this match. Uh, Finn keeps saying that it's his Intercontinental Championship, and Liv keeps pushing Dom to go and get the match. And I think she said she was going to go and talk to Priest. So it feels like it's all going. And then Braun, of course, speared Penta by accident as they were teaming up against the Judgment Day on Raw this week. So all four men have a reason to fight each other. I'm ready for it. Give Dom Mysterio his belt.
Is Luchador Chad Gable in this feud? Is he in this spot?
I don't think so because
What
it
is the
feels
character's name? It's the
is
Starbucks drink. It's El Grande Americano.
El Grande Americano.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
literally a large coffee from Starbucks. No, I like that actually. I'm not crazy about a lot of stuff that happens over there with the Otises and the Tazawas, but I've enjoyed that whole situation. So you don't think so? He's not involved with this multi-man.
No, I don't think so yet. What I could see happening is him gaining some steam with the LWO, and then after Mania, if Penta were to win, that could feel like a logical next step for the both of them.
All right, that makes sense to me. And then our last mid-card title here, the U.S. title, LA Knight is the champion right now. He seems pretty intertwined with Solo and Jacob Fatu right now. Probably more Jacob. I don't know if it's a singles match you see. Is Braun also involved here? There's kind of a lot of aspects there.
I think this one actually might be a fatal four-way match.
Okay.
So it's going to be Braun and LA,
okay.
Solo, and Jacob. I think that's how they do this. And I think Jacob walks out with the title.
So the only problem with that is I don't like when guys like Jacob get that mid card. Like we saw a few years back with Bobby Lashley. He held it forever. And it's just like, I think it's kind of being held hostage when a guy like Jacob Fatu is holding a mid card title. But like I said, predictions will get there. He's definitely going to be in this match. He will probably win, like you said. I'm just always concerned when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. There are ways to do it right. Gunther is the one that most recently comes to mind. It felt like he was the title and the title was him and they were one. It wasn't just like a prop to elevate him. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out, but I think it's going to be the four of them.
And we have two kind of wild cards in the mix. I think for both IC and US title here, heavy rumors that both Aleister Black and Miro Rusev are coming back to the company here. I'm not sure if that's before Mania, maybe the Raw after Mania, maybe like 1-1, maybe one comes back for a title match then, one is a big surprise Raw after Mania. Do you see either of them being involved in WrestleMania?
I don't. I think Mania's got its own steam. I think if they want to have fun with it, put one guy on SmackDown the Friday before WrestleMania to really set the tone for WrestleMania, and then as the crowd is hot after WrestleMania on Monday night, you put the other one. I would say expect Aleister Black on Friday, and expect Miro / Rusev, whatever he decides to come back as. I hope it's Rusev.
I was going to say, do you think we're getting Malachi and Miro or Rusev and Aleister?
I think we get Aleister Black, and I think we get Rusev. I think we get the WWE versions of both of them back. I'll tell you what, maybe they missed the boat on Rusev Day, but I can see the crowd chanting Rusev Day like as he comes back. Like even if they call him Miro, and I feel like they probably know that. So
that was my next question there. Like, do you see a big pop?
Yes, absolutely. I think both guys get a big pop, and I think deservedly so. I think we forget with Rusev because they buried him so much for things that were just completely unfair. And look, this is the old regime we're talking about, not the new regime. Things that happened with CJ Perry and their relationship went public, and then it feels like they were being punished in the ring for it, just like completely unfair. I think we forget how good Rusev was when he first came in, and just like I think he can still be that guy. He can still be that big guy, but he's super athletic. And then Aleister Black, I don't think you have a question on whether or not he can be great, right? It was about Rusev,
Yeah,
right?
that was my question. I think
Yeah.
Aleister Black's gonna get a crazy pop. I think he's phenomenal. I think he'll escape the mid card kind of. I don't want to say
Monotony.
like what do you say?
Monotony.
Monotony, sure, like the dark hole. I think he'll be able to elevate out of there. I don't know if that is a U.S. title, which kind of is still the mid card, but I see him in like a upper class.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Aleister Black. I think he's got world title potential. I think Rusev has world title potential too. It really just depends on how they book these guys.
Maybe another era. Too many guys right now. Like you just can't see a world where either of these guys get a world title with the likes of Cody, Cena, Seth, Punk, Roman, James,
Look,
Gunther.
we got to see how the crowd reacts to these guys when they come back, and we got to see how they book them, right? Because that'll determine everything.
On to the card right now. We have 7 confirmed matches. The first one we're talking about here is AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. It's been pretty good. I think their back and forth on the mic have been solid enough. Obviously, we know the in-ring work will speak for itself. I think matches like these are a little bit tough because there's no stakes here. It's kind of just a one-on-one match, and it doesn't really matter who wins.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. I agree with that. But also, I can't deny it. This match has match of the night potential.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know the athlete Logan is. We know the worker and athlete that AJ is. This match feels like one that we look back at the weekend and be like, remember that match? That match was, no pun intended, phenomenal.
And Logan has pulled out some crazy spots for big pay-per-views like this. So I'm sure him and AJ are planning something crazy.
Yeah, this is like one of those. It's like if this doesn't hit, I'd be very surprised. Like I'm not talking about match of the night, but if this is not like a match where we come out saying like, "Yep, that delivered," I would be very very surprised.
I agree with that. Our next match here, Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Another rumor today that Kevin Owens might be injured now too. I don't know. It kind of goes back to the point where Sammy doesn't make sense in this. I don't know if Sammy would step in for Kevin, which would make no sense in the storyline. But how do you foresee this going?
It's funny because it actually does, and we should know more by the end of tonight. By the end of SmackDown tonight, I think they said they were going to address it. It it looks like Kevin's not going to be a go for WrestleMania as of right now, and I want to stress that we do not know that yet. So if you're watching this back, especially not on Friday night, you know what I mean, then they might have already announced that he is a go and that everything is good. But it's possible that he might not go. And as I'm thinking, who's going to replace him? Like, well, Sami Zayn doesn't have a match. I was like, but Sami Zayn fighting for Kevin Owens' honor, like that would be ridiculous at that point. Maybe they could make it that like Sammy gets KO's spot, fight him or something like that. You know what I mean? Like keeping that rivalry going because it's a spot on the WrestleMania card, and that's obviously a valuable thing. But man, I don't know who Randy Orton could face. What maybe they could do is they could have an open challenge, right? Randy goes out there, open challenge, and they bring up one of the kids from NXT and they let somebody shine and then obviously lose to Randy Orton, but like in a great match.
That could be an option for sure. I mean, I can't think of anyone like off the top of my head who I think that could work for. We keep saying Trick Williams every week and he never comes, so like, I don't
Yeah.
know when that's going to happen. But that's a decent alternative. Like we were saying, it just makes no sense for Sammy to take Kevin's spot.
I don't think Randy Orton is losing at this WrestleMania, and which is why I'm going to say it's not going to be Aleister Black or Rusev. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they would also tie in perfectly for this, but you'd want them to come back and win in a similar way. And obviously, it will never be as big, but exactly what they did with Cody at WrestleMania 38, you want that exact same type of feel where it's like, okay, who's this person going to be? And then like say Aleister Black like rose from the ground because he's got that sick entrance that I know you love, right? You'd then want him to walk down the ring and win that match. And him versus Randy would be a great match. But Randy also has to win a match. It feels like he hasn't won in forever. Randy's got to win a match. So
Maybe if these two injuries are true, we just mix and match and go Randy versus Priest, which is fine. I don't know.
that would be interesting. Again, Priest doesn't get hurt in a loss. Randy can win. Yeah, I mean that does work, and that would be unfortunate. I would hate to see Drew miss Mania. I would hate to see KO miss Mania, but that would work.
Moving on now to our women's championship match over on SmackDown, Tiffany versus Charlotte. I think the bill's been really bad for this. They had their one back and forth there on the Zoom call where it got a lot of like attention on how poorly Tiffany did. Charlotte kind of ran circles around her in that promo. How do you feel right now?
So they just cut a promo about 20 minutes ago, and I think Tiffany held her own very, very well, much better. She utters the line at the very end of the promo. She's like, after WrestleMania, I'm still going to be champion, and you're still going to be the same way that you are outside of the ring. And that's alone. Like, I guess referencing her divorce. And I don't know if Charlotte was ready for it, but if she was and it was all acting, then kudos to her because she put on this face like she was absolutely furious at what she had just said. So either she didn't know about it or she was genuinely pissed. But Tiffy did put on a good, and the crowd was behind her, and they kept booing Charlotte and not letting her get a word off too. So that really, really helped Tiffany. It's like the crowd had her back.
And that's a tip the cap moment because I feel like these two women knew this feud did not have a lot of steam behind it. I'm sure Charlotte gave her the okay to say that line, but the way that hits, it becomes personal. You care more about it, which, like I said, you tip the cap there. Hopefully, it continues these next few weeks because it was kind of just weird. Like Charlotte was just kind of beating her up every week, and then they were doing their weird like promo off. Well, like I said, we'll do predictions probably next week. I don't want to say who I think is going to win this match yet, but hopefully not Charlotte.
Seems like you and the entire WWE universe.
Now, over to Raw for our next Women's Championship match. Another kind of weird one. So, Rhea is not officially in this match yet, but it's going to be Io, Bianca, and Rhea in a triple threat match. I think we both feel very similar about this, where this probably should have been Bianca versus Rhea. It feels like the hurdles we jumped through to put Io in this match are not paying the dividends that they thought they were going to.
It's funny, right? Because we're not jumping through hurdles to put Io in this match. We're jumping through hurdles to put Rhea in this match. But we know that they could have just kept the title on Rhea, and so therefore they are jumping through the hurdles to put Io in this match.
Yeah.
It is strange. It felt like they had the perfect one-on-one. Look, and that's nothing against Io, and I just want to make that so clear that Io is so good and deserves a WrestleMania match as much as everybody else. But they've added this third party, which is Io, because Bianca won the chamber and Rhea had the belt. And then Rhea, of course, was never going to do nothing at WrestleMania. So it's just I don't know. The whole build has felt weird. Rhea just signed the contract. Pierce is like, no, that's not happening. Which good for Pierce for being like that's not how contracts work. But also she's gonna get in the match anyway, so she still won.
They're even like telling the story that I, the fan, feel how like Bianca and Rhea are like eyeing each other down and like they're not paying mind to Io, who's the current champion. And yes, I know that's part of it. They're overlooking Io. Maybe Io wins because of that, but she feels like the third person as the champion, and it's just like a weird dynamic.
She definitely feels like the third person. They're doing the story like she's the third person. I don't know. And I still feel like, and I know we're not doing predictions yet, but I still feel like Bianca should walk out champion. This works if Io wins, and I don't know how it does if Io doesn't win. So that's what I'll say about that.
All right, we have our World Heavyweight Championship match between Jey Uso and Gunther. Another really polarizing feud right now. This is kind of a reoccurring theme on this Mania card. That's why I'm a little bit concerned about this card as a whole. But it got a little bit better last week with the whole Jimmy Uso situation. Like we said with Tiffany and Charlotte, it got more personal. Of course, Gunther handcuffed Jey to the turnbuckle and just beat down Jimmy. It was a bloody mess. It was good. It added heat to a rivalry that desperately needed it.
I think a lot of things went against this match. One, they had so long between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, and they didn't give Gunther a challenger at Elimination Chamber. They didn't give Jey a side story for Elimination Chamber. So it's just been the two of them together the whole entire time. They gave them way too much time. I think this is a lesson learned. They'll figure it out next year for whatever happens. Or if the build is shorter, then they'll be fine. Another thing that goes against this match that they've fought so many times before that they can't like fight in tag team matches against each other because we've already seen them scuffle, right? So they had this long build. They already have this history established that it doesn't need this long build for it. And then you could feel Jay is feeling the weight of possibly becoming the guy. You know what I mean? He won the Royal Rumble. He won the biggest match of the year in WWE. He's clearly feeling that weight. You know what I mean? Like he clearly, I don't want to say the yips. I don't think he got the yips, but his performances were not so great. You know, he had the weird thing with the spear where he landed weird, and Michael Cole called it a what did he call it? A
Crossbody.
crossbody.
Yeah.
It's just it's been tough. You're right. I do think it heated up as soon as they added Jimmy, though. I think Jimmy added some flavor right from the start. He came out, he teamed with them. I don't know who was supposed to be surprised about that, but that doesn't matter. They got a good win as a tag team for the first time in a year and a half since they pinned Roman Reigns. That's happened twice. Roman Reigns has been pinned. One time Cody Rhodes and one time Jey Uso.
I raised the other problem though with this whole Jey Uso situation. It's just me, Jey Uso. We didn't care about the feud until they brought Jimmy in.
Well, I think I just think that they didn't do enough in the beginning to help us care. When they added Jimmy, when they added his brother, when they added a familiar face, it was like, okay, this is the Jay that we wanted to bring out, not this guy who's kind of been meandering around here. And then Jimmy straight up told him, he's like, we need the right hand man, Jey Uso, back. We need that guy. We need the guy who pinned Roman Reigns. The guy who pinned Roman Reigns the first time in 3 years. That was Jey Uso. It wasn't Cody Rhodes. That was Jey Uso who pinned Roman Reigns. So that's the and you know you remember back and you're like, oh yeah, that was Jay. You know what I mean? Like Jay was like literally the general before Solo got there. You know, before the Usos started having problems with Roman and Sammy and Solo. You know, we need that Jey Uso, and I think that kind of that like when you think about that, that can hit like that works for the storyline, but it also brings you back to the time when yeah, then Jay broke off, and that's the reason he's so big is because he was that Jey Uso, you know. So I think that actually did work, and then of course him killing Jimmy. We'll see what happens Monday on Raw.
We're gonna get to the Seth Punk Roman match right next, but how did you feel when they announced that was night one main event and not Jay versus Gunther?
So again, I want to go to that image. I think they have something planned for Punk, Roman, Seth at the end, something that would need the end of the night type of like moment, right? If they don't, and it's just one of them winning, then I think they screwed this up massively. Because again, if the plan is Jay goes over Gunther, which I think it still is, the night closing with those lights flashing, the whole crowd yeeting, Jay holding up the world title, you will not find a better moment than that at WrestleMania, especially because I think that the end of night two is not going to be nice at all. And look, it's all relative, right? What if Cody does win at the end of night two? Maybe that's why they don't want that at the end of the night one, right?
Sure.
So that it's really tough, right? But if it goes the way I think it's going to go in my head, and I have no clue, right? I'm guessing like everybody else. Then I like Jey Uso closing night one, and that world championship. It feels like just a feel good story.
We'll just segue right into that match now. I told you this the entire build. For me, this had to be the main event because of the star power in this match, because of Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. I wish the title was involved with this. I really do. I think that would take this to new heights, but you can't have these three guys go on not last, in my opinion. I feel like it would be a mistake. I know we're kind of going back and forth here where if there's just a winner, you feel like that would be a mistake. And I think they're heavily talking now about the favor. It's always been a part of this whole thing, but that Paul Heyman favor, I don't know what that could be. I've been thinking about it. What could that be to like be a tremendous moment? Like I think like the kind of idea is that him turning on Roman? Is that like how does that what's the big impact of the favor?
Yeah, I mean, so I was given a lot of thought too. And so the theory, and I just want to say that this is a theory that's been surfacing on Twitter. I don't know who came up with it, but kudos to you because I think you're a smart human being. The theory being that Punk wants Heyman to start accompanying him to the ring, wants him to be his manager again, right? And so therefore he couldn't be the manager of the tribal chief. Sure, works for me. My problem with the feud is that the way we got here was Seth Rollins, and kudos to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is like the MVP of Royal Rumble to Mania every single year. Guy shows up every single year. He is the best part of this feud, and it's not even close. Like, I will argue till I'm blue in the face. Seth Rollins has been so good in all of this. He is the one who initially connected the two of these guys. They would not be able to have gotten here. Look, I know they had the favor, right? But
I
Seth
think
with
I think Punk and Seth are in a very similar footing. Maybe Seth's above and Roman's kind of just off on the side.
right. But what I'm saying is Seth had made it so personal with the both of them before we even started talking about the favor. You know what I mean? Seth was the menace. He showed up to SmackDown just to taunt Roman Reigns the first time, and the contract signing, he gave a great speech about how Roman would be great, but Seth always has to screw him because he always has to keep him in check. Like, Seth is so good. He should win this match. And I really hope that he does. Whatever the swerve is, I hope that involves Seth Rollins because it feels like now it's all about the favor and that we're just completely getting away from Seth. I don't know how you feel about that.
And another, I mean, you talked about an internet rumor. Another rumor out there is Seth Rollins becomes a Paul Heyman guy and wins this match, which I kind of think that's best case scenario, honestly. Like thinking, of course, we don't know what the possibilities are, but that could be tremendous if done correctly. If, say, I don't know how, maybe Paul low blows Punk or something in the middle of the ring, Seth curb stomps him, and but my problem with that and kind of this whole thing is then he wins this match. I wanted the title on this. Like that huge shock factor to give whoever wins this match the belt is tremendous versus, wow, that was incredible. CM Punk or Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns win this match and then nothing really comes of it.
You know what? Whoever wins, however this it's so weird because we all want to see Punk and Cena for the title, right? Like we all want to see that and like sooner rather than later, right?
You
We
will.
want to see heel Cena versus Punk. Punk came out the night after Elimination Chamber and called The Rock and Cena bald headed, I don't remembers, but and he ignited that feud and I was like, yes, whenever, wherever. I was Shakira in that moment. I wanted that feud like right there. I was like, can we put Punk in the main event at WrestleMania? Because I'm ready for that, right? So but it feels like in order to get there, Punk has to win this match, right? Am I off on that?
I mean, we just don't know. There's like so many different variables, and I my right now I feel like Roman's not going to win. I think it could easily be Seth or Punk. I don't think Roman wins this match.
Yeah, I mean, there's no look. All respect to my tribal chief, he is great. He gains nothing from this. He gains nothing from winning this match. He has done it all. He has been all. He can take this loss. He will be fine. I feel the same way about Punk being able to take this loss and be fine. You know what I mean? I'm trying to connect the dots for the next story, which is why I said he has to win this match for the title. To me, the person who benefits the most from the win in a non-title situation is absolutely Seth Rollins.
Our last match here to talk about here, the night two main event, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. They had what I think we believe is their last exchange, their last promo off here on Raw. It was definitely the best. It was the first time they kind of talked to each other. The formula previous weeks was John cut a promo generically heel about the crowd, how they don't appreciate him, the whole nine. Cody came out there, talked at John, and John just walked out. Nothing really happened. They, of course, had their exchange, their back and forth. It got physical. Cody headed to the crossroads. How have you felt about this whole situation?
So I went back and watched all three of these promos after the third one, so I could watch them all together. And I think they're doing great here. I can't complain because I know that there's so much more to be written on this story. And I don't think that this is the last time John Cena shows up. If it is, we're gonna see The Rock and we're gonna see him do something to like this is like the build is not just now they'll both show up at WrestleMania. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? They have a plan here clearly. This is their main event. Like this is the Sunday night main event. They have a plan. So I'm not in the camp to believe that this is over. And I thought they left it on a great foot that even if they don't come back, even if Dwayne doesn't show up until the go home show on Raw, right? They've left it in a great place where we're all like, wow, Cody really got one over on John there. I want to let you speak. I want to let you give your thoughts, but I have even more to say.
The belief is that John will not be there till Mania because he has no more confirmed dates. He said, I'll see you at WrestleMania when he finished the promo. So I think the internet kind of all comes together. You're probably right. I think Cody's going to be there regardless for sure. He'll be cutting promos, maybe at John, whatever it may be. The Rock would help out a lot here, considering we still don't know the whole situation. I'm now wondering slightly if The Rock's going to be at WrestleMania. Like, he feels like he has to be a part of this because he was such a crucial part of the John Cena heel turn. But now after he was barely mentioned during these exchanges, does The Rock still have a place here?
It would be weird if he didn't show up, right? It would be really weird if he didn't show up. I don't know. Look, they could. John Cena is a big enough star. Cody Rhodes is a big enough star. This match could go on without Dwayne, and it'll be absolutely fine. But that being said, it would be weird if they didn't show up. I will say this: John has said in that second promo that he wanted to ruin wrestling, right? I want to see him do what he's going to do, like what he says he's going to do for like I want to see him get to the limit. You know what I mean? Like we have to get to the very worst spot it could be before he actually retires with the belt, and then someone can come in and undo everything he's done. But I want to see it get really bad.
Well, in reality, and we'll get there if he's going to win the match or not, but he doesn't have a lot of time to be a heel because he has to turn back. I don't know. I don't see that happening the night of his retirement. Like he has to turn face again in some way. Maybe that's a match against The Rock. I don't know how they'll position that, but he probably only has like a 2 or 3 month stretch where he can be a heel until they got to be like, all right, we got to start reversing this. He has his big last match in a couple months, and he's got to be the big baby face for it.
Yeah, to me, it feels like they're setting up a I don't know. Can we get all the way to War Games with a heel John Cena leading like a War Games team? I
That's
don't
November, and he's done
That's
in December.
November and then he's
No,
done in December.
can't do
I
it.
I don't know cuz like
SummerSlam is like the end because he needs the fall.
it feels like he needs to get a group of people rooting wrestling with him, so it's like a great start with Rock. I'd love to see another like somebody we would never expect turn, like just join a group with Cena and The Rock. I think people were throwing out Randy Orton. That would be devastating to Cody Rhodes, and I would be all for it. You know,
Yeah, but that's what
um,
Randy's doing with no Kevin Owens match.
yeah. I mean, look, it could work.
Listen, Randy coming out as we think he's helping Cody, then he RKO's him. That could be really good.
I mean, just imagine it, and then Cody's got to assemble a new group of Avengers to fight off basically the old guard. Let Punk turn too. I'm not even kidding. Let it be the three like guys from that era and Dwayne, and then half Cody's got to go. And now Roman had to ask Cody for help. Now Cody's got to go and ask Roman for help. He's got to get Seth Rollins back on his side. He's got to get the two of them on the same page. And then I don't know who's your fourth. Does he go and beg Kevin Owens to help him or something like that? Drew McIntyre? Does they have to get Drew McIntyre on the same page? Like, give me a 4v4 at SummerSlam for the ages. Cody's got to go get Bad Bunny to block out Travis Scott. That's like I don't know.
I don't know how long you've been thinking about that, but that kind of works. I was with you for a second there.
Until I mentioned Bad Bunny and
Yeah,
Travis
Bad
Scott.
Bunny kind of went off the rails, but like the concept of all of these like OGs turning on Cody, him having nowhere else to turn, a lot of sense there. Like you said, when Roman had to go to Cody and ask him for help, it works.
I think people would love something like that. Like I just think back to that moment at the Royal Rumble. I don't even remember which Rumble it was, but it was like John, Randy, and Rey Mysterio in the ring, and it was Roman, Shinsuke, who was like 50 years old at the point, and
Adam Cole.
was it Adam Cole? It was somebody. Somebody was like a new guard guy, and they were just staring it down. The crowd absolutely loved it, and the six men had nothing to do with each other. You know what I mean? And the crowd absolutely loved it. Imagine this, where it's like this old guard is now coming in to ruin wrestling because they've been booed, and it would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing.
That is some fantasy booking for the ages. That's going to do it for us here for our WrestleMania talk. Frank, it's been a lot of fun. I think next week we'll come back here with the heel and do some WrestleMania predictions. Hopefully everyone enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.